Namaskar and hearty welcome to Sahitya Akademi's Literary Forum, which is being held under Sahitya Akademi's now very well known and famous Webline Literature series. It is Webline Sahitya Shrinkhala. Uh, in this segment of Webline Literature series, we will have a literary forum, Sahitya Manch, at which we have with us the noted poets Indranil Mukherjee ji, Mukul Kumar ji, and Nishit Mishra ji. Indranil ji and Mukul ji will recite their poems in English, and Nishit Mishra ji will recite his poems in Urdu. At the outset, on behalf of Sahitya Akademi, I heartily welcome all the three poets and, of course, all the literary connoisseurs who are going to listen to very good poetry. It's bilingual literary forum, two poets in English and one in Urdu. So hearty welcome Mukul ji, Indranil ji, and Nishit ji.
Thank you. Thank you.
At the outset, I request Sri Indranil ji to recite his poems. Indranil ji is actually a very well-known English writer, poet, and has masters in civil engineering structures with an MBA from SPJIMR, Mumbai. He learned fine arts from the Birla Academy of Art and Culture for almost a decade. Besides fine arts, he is trained in digital photography as well. He has an ebook of short stories to his credit. Currently, he is working as Assistant General Manager, Designs in an engineering consultancy firm in Navi Mumbai. Indranil ji, hearty welcome.
Thank you so much. First and foremost thing, I really want to thank Sahitya Akademi for conducting such wonderful sessions and giving us opportunity. There's one small thing. I am here with a short story book, my first book, which is called ETC. Before I start, I would like to tell a very short note about the name of the book in just one sentence. ETC is a short form of the word etc., which we all know. But in this particular case, the ETC is something very much specific to the book because during the lockdown 2020, when all of a sudden the entire human mankind came for a pause during the pandemic situation, I took the liberty to utilize the time which I got from being at home and saving the time of traveling to office to making a sketch every day and motivate the people that we are just running across the darkness of a tunnel and the ray of light is just waiting for all of us. So this continued for every day for 50 days. And then all those 50 sketches that I have done, I have selected 10 sketches out of them. And then I penned stories behind that. That's the reason why if you write the term sketch, the word ETC in between the word. So that is how the book has been named ETC. It has got 10 sketches. I would like to just read one of the most favorite of it. The name of the short story is Happy Times, Tough Times. We all love mythological stories. We all love them. But the point is here, we are in conversation of two sadhus. One is a priest and one is like the nomads, the Naga sadhu. And they both are putting up the same incidents of Lord Shiva. Both are disciples of Lord Shiva, the followers of Lord Shiva. But the way of looking to, the perspective of looking to the life or the mythological incidences are totally different. So I'm not putting up the introduction part because that I think is already given to you. And when, so this story starts when the Naga sadhu asks for something to eat. And the priest, whose name is Gyani sadhu, he just offers an apple and as usual, he was expecting a canopy. So then he told that, no, why are you giving this? Lord Shiva will be angry. And from there, the conversation starts. So now I'll read it. Oh, come on. I'm a devotee of Lord Shiva. If I start the day with an apple, my Lord will be upset. Cannabis, please. I disagree with the fact that this apple will upset Lord Shiva. I'm sure no such master will. But since you mentioned, let me ask whether you know how Lord Shiva and cannabis got related. Yes, I know, but still, I would not mind listening to the Gyani Baba. Please enlighten me. Well, it so happened that when the ocean of milk was churned by gods and the demons for acquiring the elixir of life, a drop of that fell on Mount Madra. A plant sprouted out from the droplet. A drink was then prepared from those leaves, and Lord Shiva admired that drink thereafter. That plant that sprouted out is said to be cannabis. Now the Naga Sadhu says, okay, but I have a different story at my end. Due to an angry discourse with his family, Lord Shiva wandered into the woods. It was hot and the sun drained a lot of his energy. Over to that, the internal family conflict and also drained Lord mentally. He got exhausted and decided to rest. As soon he fell asleep under a shade of a leafy plant. When he woke up, his curiosity led him to the sample of the leaves of the plant. To his utmost surprise, he got instantly rejuvenated, and thereafter that plant, cannabis, became the favorite of Lord Shiva. And cannabis has been constantly doing this great job to all those who are in pain and distress. Now, do you have anything with you? I am getting restless. Well, I'm sorry, my friend. I do not have any cannabis with me. That is why I offered you this apple. But I must say, I'm impressed with the story you shared. Gyani Baba realized that Naga was getting irritated and losing his cool. He tried to divert his attention with another story from the Lord Shiva Encyclopedia. Don't get so excited. Relax. If you raise your temper so high, then maybe Lord Shiva has to offer the moon to be placed on your head. Oh, one more story? Seriously? Not a story, but we all know. After consuming the halala from Samudra Manthan, Lord Shiva's body temperature started rising abnormally. So, to cool himself, he placed the moon on his head, as it is believed that the moon is to cool its full demeanor. Again, a different angle of the same incident. That the moon is placed on Lord Shiva's head has a connection to Daksha Prajapati. Oh, I didn't know this one. Daksha Prajapati was one of the sons of Lord Brahma. Yes, he had 27 stars as his daughters, who were married to the moon. One of those 27 stars was Rohini. The moon always had a special attraction and feeling for Rohini amongst all the 27 star wives. This partiality caused trouble within the family, and soon Daksha Prajapati also got to know about the same. He then warned the moon to treat all his wives equally. Unless otherwise done, he will start losing his shine one day. But the moon couldn't change himself. This curse made the moon lose the shine, and he had to take shelter in the ocean. But it disrupted the balance in nature. To bring back the balance, all deities approached to Lord Shiva and requested him to do something. It is then when the moon took refuge in Lord Shiva's matted hair. Lord Shiva succeeded in growing the size of the moon in 15 days, and then again warned him for another 15 days. This kept repeating in a cycle. By this, the curse of Daksha Prajapati was also honored. That is why today we get to see a full moon and a new moon. So like this, both the sadhus kept on discussing about the various aspects of the same incidents of a mythological god, Lord Shiva. The most important part is that we always do the similar kind of activities. We always look up to any kind of an incident from only one side. We don't look to the other side of things. Empathy is very important for human being, especially in this kind of situation where every human has to stand as a support to the other human being to fight together the COVID-19 situation. And I will not give a spoiler to the story. I hope this little portion which I have read will grow some curiosity to all the viewers and the listeners. But let me tell you, as the story proceeds and they both communicate each other, at one point of time, they realized that they both have been the disciple of the same guru. I will just recite one more small portion that how the same guru is preaching two different aspects of the same Lord. Okay. My guru was a man of great honor and respect in our Naga community. Before joining us, he was one like you preaching the good to all villagers. He was very much respected and people used to trust him a lot. A few key members of the local panchayat decided to exploit his trust and enforce some unscrupulous activity in the village just for their gains. He denied the proposal. To retaliate, they allegedly they alleged that he has molested a few women in the villages in the name of rituals. The villagers became furious and were almost on the verge of killing him. The very next day, he left the village silently and walked across the hills. He starved for days during this travel and was extremely feeble when he found him lying unconscious beside a cave. We treated him for months and got him back to life. By then, he was one among us. Soon after, he started sharing stories of the Lord to us, and we started admiring him as our guru. So how, in the story in the beginning, we have already mentioned that how Gyani Sadhu, whose name was actually Raman, got influenced by his guru. And during the course of time, he realized that this Naga Sadhu is also been following the same guru, but after one particular incident in his life. So that's how I have tried to portray this story, that how one single person can look up to the same thing when he is through a pain, when he is through a situation, and different perspective really changes entirely the same incidents in the different angle. So this book, ETC, has like this all kind of human emotions, 10 stories with 10 different human emotions portrayed. And all of them, those who have read my book, has really appreciated, because by any means, somehow or the other, this will definitely connect to your own personal life. Because after all, we all are human beings, and we have characters in common, which sometimes take a larger shape or a smaller, but it is all there inherent to us. And I requested everyone to read this book and spread the message, because it's high time that we slowly start growing those particular instances like empathy, sympathies, feeling for the others, feeling for the society, feeling for the heritage, the culture. We are also striving hard to keep up those cultures, the cultures which are slowly evading with the generations coming up. So this book is dedicated to that social message, and I'm so glad that people have understood that message very clearly, and they are appreciating the read, and they are spreading the message. And I'm also happy that Sahitya Akademi today has given me this opportunity. So I've just explained one small phrase or one small portion of one of the 10 stories. I hope you will appreciate reading the book further to it, and let me know how you have liked it.
Thank you very much for that interesting story, which in fact made us all a little more curious about your book. Could you please repeat the title of that book?
Yes, the title of the book is ETC, etc. It is just ETC. And this book is available across all the major e-commerce platforms across the globe. Amazon, Flipkart, Odilo. Odilo is there abroad. So it is available, and I'm so glad it is available both in ebooks and paperback format. And I don't think booking this book will be difficult for you, because fortunately there is no repetition of the same name. So whenever I'm searching with etc., the book is coming up as the only sole search result. So I hope it will be easier for you to find it out. And the book is intentionally priced very low, so that it doesn't make you any concern. Yeah.
That's wonderful. Arti, congratulations for the book, and all the best for your writing in future.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Let us now invite Shri Mukul Kumarji. Mukul Kumarji is a well-known English writer and a bureaucrat. He writes both poetry and prose, and has 2 collections of poems and 2 novels to his credit, besides an ebook titled Arzu Arshan. Several of his works have been published in literary journals and magazines, and the reviews of his novel, As Boys Become Men, appeared in many prestigious journals and all major e-portals. He was honored with the National Award for Outstanding Service to the Indian Railways, Bharat Nirman Award, and Purvanchal Gaurav Samman. He is an Indian Railway Traffic Service officer and currently working in New Delhi. Mukul Kumarji, hearty welcome to you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks a lot. At the outset, let me extend my heartfelt thanks to Sahitya Akademi for giving me the opportunity to recite my latest poems. Though Sahitya Academy has always been kind to me, and I have already attended quite many forums, and every time the experience has just been wonderful. And when I leave the program, I can't help looking forward to another opportunity to be associated with Sahitya Academy. As per the demands of the session, I would like to recite a couple of my poems, which have been written in the recent times. Because the pandemic was the time, as Indranil rightly mentioned, that gave us ample leisure for so that we could afford creativity. At times, it is so difficult to afford creativity, but lockdown, that way has been has been of immense help to the creative writers. During lockdown, I published a book also, the poetry collection Catharsis, which was, which is a collection of the poems written over the last 2 years, I must say. But right now, I'm going to recite a couple of my poems, which are not the part of this poetry collection Catharsis, which have been written quite, recently. I would begin with the poem titled Tryst with the Divine. Tryst with the Divine, Tryst with the Divine deals with the theme about, how divinity is immanent in nature. I believe that nature is the instant, gateway to divinity. And that reminds me of the famous quote by Alan Hovhaness, a famous American composer, who says that I believe that nature is the clothing of God. I think it is an expression so dear to my heart. And every time I'm amidst nature, I feel that quote of, Alan Hovhaness, coming out to be so true. So here is the poem, Tryst with the Divine. The chirrups of the birds stir the heart out of the vague inertness, the anxieties from the reality of living and conundrum of life. Once stirred, it's more the merrier. Heart has a way with seducing the senses into a pleasing submission. The enchanting sights, the enticing fragrances, the soothing sounds and musical silences, the titillating feel of the cool breeze on the warming body that is set into an effortless motion. This is why the poet tries to capture nature while he has gone into a garden to take up some exercises. He's walking briskly, jogging and all. And it depicts the emotion of that particular moment. Third stanza, tree is man's loyalest friend. Flower the eternal beloved. Cool breeze the instant enchantress. Meadow the marital bed, blissful theater for the meeting of the heart and the mind. And the sky emerges as the ultimate patriarch of the soul. Ah, how visible is the revelatory moment and accessible the tryst with the divine. It concludes with the emotion that when you are amidst nature, it is so easy to feel, feel divinity, to palpably feel the divinity. The second poem is titled Dreaming Anarchy. Dreaming Anarchy deals with the theme that big creations are seeded in total destructions. Many a time we feel trapped in circumstances in a way that everything in the present has to change for a major change which we dream of, which we desire. This poem depicts the emotion of a man who is gripped with this particular emotion, that he wants his surrounding, his setup to completely change. Maybe, and that is not feasible unless anarchy comes, but he dreams that that anarchy would ultimately give way to the realization of his dream. So here is the poem, Dreaming Anarchy. The debris of a castle heaved in a stately house now weighs heavy. The debris of a castle heaped in a stately house now weighs heavy. It is completely crumbled under the crushing weight of the orders that have closed in. The grand soulless structures ruled by the faceless stars. The motions of living are slowing. The felicity for a smile masking, a sigh is falling fragile. The senses now rendered too senile to disallow the soul its long due rise. Its glimmer, the dusk that is sister to dawn, the face and feel a messy mangle, I'm caught up in the eddying currents that are set sweeping within, and look and feel the prelude to a cataclysm. Heaven shows itself through the skies that is split with thunder and lightning. Universe was created with a big bang. I am eagerly waiting for the anarchy that can rebuild my castle. So this, poem depicts that emotion of how change, many a time, radical changes are, required for a big creation or the realization of a big dream. My last poem is titled, I Spill the Missing Breast Milk. Many of my poems, as a poet, I have always been fascinated. I have always felt gripped with certain sites. This poem is again born of the actual site. And at that moment, I feel as a poet that it is the impingement of that site upon my sensibility that ultimately leads to the emission of emotions. That is how scientifically I can describe it. When the light is impinged upon a certain surface, how electrons are emitted. That imagery comes in my mind when I end up writing such poetry. I spill the missing breast milk. As I pass by a shanty in Dharavi slum, where I am to buy myself a leather jacket. Dharavi slum is very famous for, making leather goods, marketing leather goods. An unconscious sight strikes me hard, plucking me from the enthusiasm, the excitement of an addition to my variegated wardrobe. A woman suckling her newborn, unmindful of the exposure, her femininity robbed of coyness by the classic arms of poverty. The child frantically sucked the breast that looked distastefully shriveled for the milk that was not there. The color of the milk that I split. The same morning, the color of the milk I split the same morning. The glass toppled by an unmindful hand engaged in an entertaining mobile. Changes to blood red in the mind. That is a crab nebula now. It is her blood that couldn't be mutated into milk for her breast. The hallucination churns me, filling in the horrific pity on my belief in socialism and knowledge of welfare economics. This poem basically brings out the poverty in society and class difference, especially the class, difference, which is still exists in the society in spite of our, sincere efforts in this direction. Thank you.
Thank you, Mukulji, for those beautiful 3 poems, marked with genuinely fresh imagery, deep social concern, and philosophical undercurrent, subtle philosophical undercurrent. Thanks a lot. And you said that you have recently written these 3 poems, which you told that aren't a part of your collection of poems that you showed up, Catharsis, if I remember. Yeah. Okay, fine. Thanks a lot, Mukulji, again.
If time permits, can I recite a small poem out of this collection also?
Certainly. Please do that.
This is a poem, a very interesting poem, and I recited this poem in Sahitya Academy's All India Writers Meet that was held in Andamans, I think 2 or 3 years back. I think
that's right.
And this poem is very dear to my heart because this is titled Writer's Block. Many a time, when I believe that any creative, pursuit or creative gift, that is a matter of, any creative art is a matter of gift that is innate to you. You have to wait for the inspiration to come, especially that is very true with poetry, especially. So here is a creative artist who is stuck up, I think, who is facing writer's block, and he is trying to write something with his grit and determination. And the emotions, ultimately he fails. So that this poem captures that particular moment, those emotions, that how a writer has to wait for the inspiration to come, and how as such a human being, he is so helpless. This is the poem Writer's Block. Nothing written for long. Self-abnegation fills in. Nothing written for long. Self-abnegation fills in. The self is overcast with a repentant gloom. That why I have not been able to write anything. I will break the ice today itself. Here comes the grit and determination. I will break the ice today itself, thoughtless though I am. As earlier, the sensibility will serve and thoughts bloom. Oh, long minutes fly by, but thoughts elude, as if mind a rebel. As if mind a rebel. A writer I am, the swagger sizzles, but contrarily, the void booms. The more you try, the more it doesn't come. Nipped long, the swagger subsides. Now the arrogance is giving way to the reality. Nipped long, the swagger subsides. A writer you are. Now here is a voice, inner voice. A writer you are, not by yours, but nature's will. Large, a thought finally looms. But nature's will, large, a thought finally looms. Thank you.
Thank you, Mukulji. Thanks a lot. Let us now invite a polyglot who, with equal ease, writes in Urdu, Hindi, and English, Shri Nishit Mishra ji. Nishit ji, after completing his degree in engineering, got selected in the Indian Police Service in 2004 and served in various capacities across the state of Maharashtra, and also did a 4-year stint with CBI in New Delhi. His initial writings were in English, but with passing years, composing Urdu poetry has become a passion for him. Presently working on a lyrical translation of Mir Taki Mir into English. Currently, he is working as Additional Commissioner of Police in Mumbai. Welcome, Nishit Mishra ji.
Sir, thank you. Thank you for having provided me this opportunity. And it's actually a very big achievement, I would say, for someone like me to be here amongst people like Mukul sir and the other distinguished person here, Mr. Mukherjee. तो मैं एक दो चीज़ें इसमें कहना चाहूँगा. शुरू में जब हम लोग कोशिश कर रहे थे तो उस वक्त ये कहा गया था कि आपके अगर हिंदी में कुछ हो लिखा हुआ तो वो यहाँ शेयर करें.
जी.
अनफॉर्चुनेटली हिंदी वाला जो लिखा था वो मैं कलेक्ट नहीं कर पाया क्योंकि वो काफ़ी साल पहले का लिखा था. और फिर जैसे जैसे टाइम बीतता गया तो हिंदी से उर्दू पे आया, उर्दू से कभी इंग्लिश पे जाता था और फिर अनुवाद पे आया. सो एज सर हैड पॉइंटेड आउट, मीर तकी मीर का अनुवाद इंग्लिश में उसके ऊपर मेरी कोशिश चल रही है आजकल. Hopefully in the time to come, I'll be able to come up with something palatable and presentable. तो आज मैं ये कुछ अशार हैं, इनको आप नज़्म कह लें, गज़ल कह लें, आवारा तहरीर कह लें. So ये जो हैं basically they are ramblings of a wandering mind. ये किसी फॉर्मेट में या किसी फर्मे में फिट होते हों ये मैं नहीं जानता और वो आप पर छोड़ता हूँ as the distinguished audience. So I'll try to say out probably 3 or 4 of these. उर्दू में है, कुछ अल्फाज हो सकता है कि थोड़े पर्शियनाइज्ड इन्फ्लुएंस क्योंकि उर्दू पे आता है पर्शियन अरबिक का, तो हमारे ऑडियंस के लिए मतलब हम लोगों के लिए some words may be a bit unintelligible, but I think the others are pretty simple. आप लोगों की इजाजत से मैं ये पहला पढ़ता हूँ. शहरे दिल में है अंधेरा, शहर दिल में है अंधेरा, अब तो हल बतलाइए, और चुक गया यादों का ईंधन, अब तो खुद आ जाइए।
जी।
बेअसर इमाम ओ ईमा, बेअसर कहरो करम। इमाम ओ ईमा is the faith and the faithful, या आप कह लें कि पुजारी, I mean the person who's conveying your faith. And कहरो करम of course is boon and curse. बेअसर इमाम ओ ईमा, बेअसर कहरो करम, ओ नई तामीर रब, वो कीमिया समझाइए. So essentially what the poet is saying is कि आपके traditional forms of worship and the forms of your gods शायद वो irrelevant हो गए हैं. उनका fear, उनका supplication शायद उसका अब उतना effect नहीं है. अब आपके सोसाइटी को क्या चाहिए? एक कोई ऐसा alchemy चाहिए जिससे कि खुदा ही आपका चेंज हो जाए. So essentially you are looking for a new God. बेअसर इमाम ओ ईमा, बेअसर कहरो करम, वो नई तामीर रब, वो कीमिया समझाइए. मुब्तिला हूँ मर्ज़ हक से, I am afflicted with the disease of always speaking the truth. So मुब्तिला हूँ मर्ज़ हक से, जां बलब हूँ चार असास, फिर जुबान पर सच न आए, वो दवा लिख जाइए. So ये essentially it is in the form of pathos, irony. मुब्तिला हूँ मर्ज़ हक से, जां बलब हूँ चार असास, फिर जुबान पर सच न आए, वो दवा लिख जाइए. और अब के मिलिए मुझसे ऐसे, मौत मिलती जो बशर से. So we are talking of a meeting or a union which is as inseparable as the union between a dying man and his death. So it is irrevocable and it is inevitable in a way. अब के मिलिए मुझसे ऐसे, मौत मिलती जो बशर से, लाख काविश कर ले दुनिया, लौट कर ना जाइए. So if अगर आपकी मौत डेस्टिन्ड है, कितने भी एफर्ट्स कर ले, वो चीज टल नहीं सकती. And the last verse, यादगार इश्क बाहम, which means a memorial to our mutual love. यादगार इश्क बाहम, मिलके हम क्यों ना बनाएं, मैं करूं मीरात साजी. मीरात साजी is manufacturing of शीशा, आईना, mirrors. यादगार इश्क बाहम, मिलके हम क्यों ना बनाएं, मैं करूं मीरात साजी, आप संग ले आइए. संग of course is a stone. So ये एक था. I think this was in a tone of pathos, irony. Then अब ये, I think this would be more on the contemporary state of society, and probably it can be seen as a farcical verse as well. So it has a mix of satire and the farce. फिर अना है, फिर हवस है. Ana is ego, havas is desire. फिर अना, फिर दिल में कुछ और, लब पे कुछ है. So in your heart you have something, but आपकी जुबान पे कुछ और है. फिर अना, फिर हवस है, दिल में कुछ और, लब कुछ मैं न था जाते में ही कुछ है। So ये जो डिसेप्शन, आई हैव ऑलवेज बीन सेइंग टू यू दैट दिस इज इंट्रिंसिक एंड इनहेरेंट टू मैन। फिर हवस है दिल में है। मैं न कहता था तुम्हें कि सादम में कुछ है। बंद खिड़की कब्ज ताले, सहमी जन खामोश नाले। Essentially where a picture
निशित मिश्र जी, आपकी
the songs are stifled.
शायद नेट कनेक्टिविटी की कोई दिक्कत हो वहां, अब तक जो नहीं थी।
Am I audible now?
Now you are. Yes, please continue. लैपटॉप से थोड़ा दूर हो।
मैं आपकी आवाज नहीं सुन पाया।
प्लीज कंटिन्यू, अभी सुन रहे हैं।
ओके जी। बंद खिड़की कब्ज ताले, सहमी जन खामोश नाले। देख कर लगता है मुझको जश्न आजादी सा कुछ है। सो अगेन दैट एलिमेंट ऑफ आर्स कि ये जहां सब कुछ खामोश है, चुप है और सब घबराहट है, it is appearing to the poet as if it is a day of independence celebrations. बंद खिड़की कब्ज ताले, सहमी जन खामोश नाले। देख कर लगता है मुझको जश्न आजादी सा कुछ है। अहदो वादा बोसे सजदे, शींटा रेजी गुल फिशानी। आज भी जमहूरियत में सबकी खातिर कुछ न कुछ है। सो एसेंशियली जो यहाँ ये मेरे ख्याल से थोड़ा एपरेंट है, इसको कुछ ज्यादा एक्सप्लेन करने की जरूरत नहीं। अहदो वादा बोसे सजदे, शींटा रेजी, अहदो वादा बोसे सजदे, शींटा रेजी गुल फिशानी। आज भी जमहूरियत में सबकी खातिर कुछ न कुछ है। और आखिरी में, खुद से मिलना जख्म सिलना, घाव मलना अश्क ढलना। दाग जिंदा से क्यों जाने, रिश्ताए राहत भी कुछ है। So all these memories of pain, they are reminiscent of a period which maybe one has spent in the jail or in incarceration of some form or the other. तो ये दो थे, वैसे तो और भी हैं। I don't know how much time I have.
प्लीज आप एक
अगर होगा वक्त। नहीं, मैं आवाज नहीं सुन पाया आपकी साहब।
एक नज्म आप अवश्य सुनाएं।
जी, थैंक यू, शुक्रिया। अब एक ऐसा जो कि आई थिंक ये इनसे हटके है, ये है डेडिकेटेड टू ऑल द प्रोफेशनल्स, चाहे वो सरकार में हो चाहे बाहर हो, ऑल एम्प्लॉयज विद इन कोर्ट्स जो हमेशा थके रहते हैं और वो जिनको हमेशा लगता है कि थोड़ी फुर्सत मिले। तो ये अर्ज है, एक ऐसा दिन तो दो मालिक, जब काम बकाया कोई ना हो, नहीं आंखें उसे अगला दिन भी ना हो। जब कतरा कतरा दिन टपके और रफ्ता रफ्ता कैफ चढ़े, मतलब वो वाला दिन धीरे धीरे आए, बिल्कुल लेजरली। अभी जैसे बाकी दो ऑथर्स ने कहा, धीरे धीरे आहिस्ता आहिस्ता चले। और एक इंटॉक्सिकेशन आता जाए बिकॉज ऑफ दैट लैंग्वेज आवर्स. सो जब कतरा कतरा दिन टपके और रफ्ता रफ्ता कैफ चढ़े, उस शाम अबद की सहर तो हो पर सहर की पिछली रात न हो. मतलब बहुत ही लैंग्वेज इवनिंग्स और वो सीधा आपके मॉर्निंग में कन्वर्ट हो जाए. बिकॉज रात को सोने के बाद सुबह उठना, आई थिंक दैट इज द मोस्ट पेनफुल थिंग. सो शाम के इंटॉक्सिकेशन और एंजॉयमेंट के स्टेट से सीधा आप आ जाएं सुबह पे. सो उस शाम अबद की सहर तो हो पर सहर की पिछली रात न हो. निखत इशरत बादा ख्वारी, intoxication and fragrance and leisure. निखत इशरत बादा ख्वारी, बेहद फुर्सत बेहिसकारी, उस शाम में सब कुछ कर बैठें और उसका फिर कुछ याद न हो. So all the sins we may commit, and after that it is a convenient amnesia. I mean, so निखत इशरत बादा खारी, बेहद फुर्सत बेहिसकारी, उस शाम में सब कुछ कर बैठें और उसका फिर कुछ याद न हो. और आखिरी शेर कि कुछ देर निजाते दुनिया दो, आजाद आजाद रविश का तलातुम दो. माना एक रोजा मोहलत हो, सिर्फ एक ही दिन की मोहलत दो. माना एक रोजा मोहलत हो, उस रोज की पर मुद्दत ना हो. मतलब वो एक दिन जो है वो 24 घंटे का हो, ऐसा उसके ऊपर कोई वो पाबंदी नहीं होनी चाहिए. तो वो एक दिन आपका, इट कैन गो ऑन टू एटर्निटी. सो थैंक यू फॉर द अपॉर्चुनिटी एंड आई शैल लुक फॉरवर्ड टू every and any interaction with such an august gathering. Thank you so much.
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद निशित जी आपका. इतनी सहजता से सबके मन में जो बात होती है वो कह दिया कि ये समय केवल 24 घंटे का ना हो. यह बहुत सुंदर थी. बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद. एंड फाइनली आई थैंक इंद्रनील जी, Mukul Kumar ji and Nishit Mishra ji on behalf of Sahitya Akademi, and thanks to all the literary lovers who watched and listened to the beautiful poems as well as the short story that Indranil ji told us. Thank you all. On behalf of Sahitya Akademi, I thank all. Let us meet again and again for this literary exchange. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.